Your home for our Atlanta Falcons, Hawks, and Atlanta United. Your teams play here. Sports Radio 92.9, The Game.
Mike, something happened over the weekend that made me smile. And it didn't make me smile because I'm a bad guy or I wish anybody bad will. Mm-hmm. But it made me smile because this organization is different. And I'm talking about the Falcons, guys, because they made the decision over the weekend to move on from Jalen. And I think, you know what we're talking about, right? The offensive lineman?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. But they made the decision to move on from Jalen Mayfield. And it made me say to myself, they're not going to hang on to guys, Mike, regardless of the situation or circumstance, if the guy can't play.
Nope.
And they're not going to try to justify any particular player if he's not contributing to this football team. Now, for Falcon fans, understand this. This regime is setting a precedent saying we're giving him a chance. We drafted him. We gave him a few years. We tried him at different spots. It didn't work. We're out. The last regime didn't do this. They were determined to prove to us that even when a pick was wrong, it was right. And they'd hold on to a guy for too long, and all of a sudden the guy didn't do anything, and then we were 3, 4, 5 years down the road, and we had paid him a bunch of money, Mike, and all of a sudden now, he can't play. We knew this about Jalen Mayfield. Now, with all due respect, I get it. Guys get cut in the NFL. It is a business. Mike and I talk about it all the time. But, Mike, this makes me feel like we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, as you said it. There's no point in sitting there. Everybody in the room knows. I like what Michael Rothstein said on Twitter the other day. You don't want to be like mean-spirited about it. It just is what it is. With third-round pick, starting tackle out of Michigan, there's an expectation level, and he's just not an NFL player, and it's a shame. But they cut bait on him. Look, if you were not part of this regime, they cut bait on Marlon Davidson, was class of 20. He was a second-round pick. Michael Walker was a fourth-round pick from the previous regime, gone. And now here's a guy, one of their own, third-round pick, which is supposed to be somebody who produces, and they're moving on. So they're going to look for some depth at tackle. We'll talk more about what we need to address as far as, I think maybe linebacker and tackle off the top of my head, swing lineman.
Sure.
But, yeah, they ran it up the flagpole. And he can't bring it. And I think most fans came to the conclusion. I do feel bad in the sense that some of the video you saw with him, it was almost like it was cringeworthy, with watching guys just run by him when he was in pass protection. So they're moving on. But I'm with you. Some franchises and some that's when I say a corporate mentality. Like when you guys at work, something's not working, but your bosses tell you, oh, no, it's great. This is the new software, the 5.0, and it's going to address all your concerns. It's crap. It's bull. Everybody knows it. And in this case, they're simply just cutting off a piece that wasn't working, period.
All right. So nothing that has happened with our Falcons is, for me, at least unexpected. Okay. This was one of those big question marks. And if they would have allowed him to remain somehow on the roster or continue to say, well, we're going to develop him, they would have been trying to fool us. And there's none of that. And I love that about what's going on with Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith. Play the best guys. At the end of the day, that's what this is about, Mike. Play the best guys, give us the best shot to win. And if you don't do that, you're cheating us and you're cheating yourself. So the cuts that have been made, and we'll see what else happens between now and the next 48 hours or so, Mike, but I don't think anything has surprised me. But the Jalen Mayfield thing just said to me, the statement is we gave him a shot and we're done. And we are not going to hold on to guys, and I love that about this particular regime. I hope that's the case as we continue to move forward and build, hopefully, a championship caliber team.
Yep, and getting down to 53, and we talked about, the good news was you had a lot of wide receivers I thought were pretty tight. I thought, that's a hard decision for the coaching staff to maybe find that 5th or 6th guy. Some people felt we had no depth, but, that's the national guys who don't know how we operate. We operate with running backs and tight ends who work as wide receivers, and that's part of the scheme. And we also saw that if we do want to have guys on the practice squad, that if heaven forbid someone's injured, we got some really athletic wide receivers. So working from 90 down to 53, and we'll see where it goes. I know that a lot of folks wondering at linebacker, do you have enough? And we already
Do you think?
I think you might want to see. Now, again, it's going to be Caden Ellis' show, and I think he's going to be the star of this linebacker core. But, let's be honest. Anderson's got to pop. This is year 2. We're talking about people still upset that we didn't draft Kobe Dean. So he's going to have to move it up. But you're going to have a lot of cuts. So we'll bring in some bodies to shore up those. That's my only area of concern. I'm not concerned about corner. Not concerned about anything else. Certainly not concerned about wide receiver like some folks.
Mikael Walker, right? Michael Walker's gone. Caden Ellis, Anderson, Nate Landman. They signed another guy there. I'm just looking at the depth as it was maybe a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago. Davis, Andre Smith. Yeah, I'm with you, Mike, with the linebackers. And again, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's like really good. And then I feel like there'll be a dramatic fall off.
Yeah, and when you talk about linebackers, sometimes guys get confused in the 3-4 or the 3-4-ish. But the OLBs, the guys are going to be more edge rusher than dropping back, although they can do that. But there's guys going to be up at the line of scrimmage as opposed to the guys in coverage on running backs, tight ends, etc.
Turtle says they like what they've seen from Nate Landman. The other positions, and when you talk about outside linebacker like Arnold Ebiketie and Ogundeji, all these guys, there's depth there.
Right.
I'm not as concerned as the inside linebacker position,
Correct.
which is what we're talking about with Caden Ellis and Troy Anderson. 404-726-0929. That is the Solomon Brothers Diamond Text line. You guys can hit us up. Listen, I'm not telling you it's a win when it comes to, Jalen Mayfield not being here. I'm just telling you the mentality has changed.
Right.
I think they understand in that front office at Flowery Branch, Mike, it's win or go home. It's like win now or go home. We only play it. We're going to have guys on this team. And I just like that attitude. And I just felt like, I don't know, through the Thomas Dimitroff regime, you always said this, like, hey, they're holding on to him for, too long. And it just felt like, okay, well, maybe they'll give him another shot. Why?
No, mistakes had to be, it's almost like they had to validate it. The square peg was going to get rammed in there one way or the other. And I'm with you. It drove me crazy. Just cut bait. The good teams do it. The good teams just say, look, we made a mistake. On to the next guy. And by the way, I just looked it up just for blanks and giggles. If you did want to bring another linebacker in, he never got signed by anybody since they cut him, is Rashawn Evans. He's a free agent. No, he's a free agent.
Wow.
So that's a dude who, would kind of fit some of the more of the big body in the middle if you're looking for it.
Okay.
So that's just food for thought.
Are you surprised about that, though?
Nah, but again, he is a first rounder. We gave him a second shot, but that's why I think Caden Ellis is going to do the things I thought they wanted him to do, but just couldn't get it done last year.
Yeah, I tell you this, boy, I like our starters. I'm talking about the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Jared, Onyemata, Campbell, Dupree, Ellis, Anderson, Ebike. I mean, I like what I'm saying. AJ, Richie, Jeff. I like what potentially this could be on paper. It looks really good on paper. How is it going to be? Are they going to perform? Get off the field on third down, make plays, Mike, get turnovers? I don't know if they're going to do all that. But on paper, this looks so much better than what we were looking at the last 2 years where you're like, what was the term you used? The defense of what? What was it? What was the term?
Which one?
Oh,
yeah. It was Legion of Meh.
Yeah.
For the last 5 years, it's been Legion of Meh. No, and by the way, I mean, I could hear somebody right now in his car. Yeah, they better look good on paper because I ain't seen them on television. I know. We've already covered this. We've covered the lack of. Now, we did learn on Friday's show that maybe Dahlman was a little banged up and that Lindstrom was a little nicked, and so they didn't watch. So maybe that's the only logic. Maybe they were prepared to put the first team out there, but they weren't going to do it with backups and piecemeal in front of Ritter. Maybe that was part of it.